Hello everyone, a very good morning to all. So today is 29th of December and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the video. So today there was a little bit delay as we were doing all these settings and all such stuff. Okay, so guys, in the today's session, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We will take all the articles from the Hindu newspaper which are relevant for our examination. We'll simplify these articles and along with the background as well as the way forward, we are going to discuss all these articles. Guys, one more thing I want to tell you that if you are joining here for the first time, you can download the synoptic notes of all the articles. Now the synoptic notes are available on our Telegram channel and link for Telegram channel is given in the description box. So today's synoptic notes will be uploaded after this class, but on other days they are uploaded before the class. So they will be made available to you. So guys, let's start. First of all, we will take the overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So here we have the Delhi edition of Hindu newspaper, and the first article that we can see here, COVID spike likely but no wave. Now guys, the article is not that much important for the examination. The rising number of COVID-19 cases every day, whatever it is happening, fine, you don't need to go in that much detail for the exam. Then after that, moving on in this particular direction, the advertisements, and then we have the city section. In city section we get the political news, etc. Okay, so no need to go in this particular direction, so we will continue moving. Much important articles have not come in the city section, so we will move and directly will reach to editorial section where we got some important of articles. Now first article, Nepal politics past, present and future. Article is not important because recently the new prime minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has been sworn as prime minister in the Nepal. So the past election, the coalitions, government, all these things are being discussed. No need to go in this article. Then below, India must build awareness on population control. This is an important article with respect to our examination. We'll see this particular article. Then guys, on the side, there is this article that is turning tide. Now this article is talking about the rebound in exports that have happened. So in the month of October, there was a dip in export sector, but now again a rebound that has happened. Now understand this particular thing, you are not required to read this article. Why? Because guys, it is just talking about the month of the export performance in the month of October versus November. Now when economic survey will come, in economic survey the entire year's important trends we are going to see, so no need to go here. Then the below article is talking about the confrontation going on between the West Bengal and the union government over the delay in MG Narega payments. Okay, so if you remember, yes, day before yesterday we have taken one article on MG Narega which was talking about another dimension, and that dimension was that now in MG Narega there is a new digital attendance system that has been incorporated. Okay, so that was another controversy. Now they are saying about the delays that have happened. Now the union government is saying that it is delay because the West Bengal government has not carried forward the compliances, and government is saying that the West Bengal government is saying that the union government is not releasing the funding. So this is a political spat, political fight between union and the state government. Okay, so much academic substance is not there in this particular article. Very generic kind of issues are there. Then moving on in this particular direction, guys. So the legal hurdles in freeing the Hindu temple. So basically, the article is talking about the BJP's attempts in this particular direction. Then, who will succeed Naveen Patnaik? And now we have the text and the context page. Now, in text and context page, there are some very good articles that had come. The failed attempt at decriminalization. This article talks about the Jan Vishwas bill that has been raised in Parliament. So we will see and how the Jan Vishwas bill will improve the ease of doing business. We are going to take that. Then, what is the proposal to ban the sale of e-cigarettes? We'll see this article with respect to the health. Then putting off caste census will only benefit the privileged groups. So guys, now the caste census requirements are being made, demands are being made. So we'll see this particular article also. Then further moving on. After that, guys, here there is one important article. The triple test rule for OBC quota in elections is being discussed. So we are going to discuss this particular article as well. Then here there is one more article, delegated law should not travel beyond purview of the Parent Act, Supreme Court. We are going to discuss this particular article also with respect to the examination. Okay. Then further going on in this particular direction, here The basically page number 11 is filled with the political articles. No need to go in this page. You can just skip this entire page. After 2020 COVID blip, road fatalities on the rise. So basically, guys, the number of road accidents are being discussed in this particular direction. Now, moving on. So here, Eklavya teachers to receive training in computer sciences. So basically, Ministry of Tribal Affairs had come out with the Eklavya residential model schools, which will particularly be catering to the areas where scheduled tribe people populations are there. Okay, so into the tribal districts, Eklavya residential model schools are to be developed. So the teachers will be given the computer science training. Then moving on in this direction, MG Narega fund release is a continuous process. So as I told you that recently there is a splat that has happened on MG Narega. On that article, on that line, the article has come. Now, on world page, majorly the COVID and the basically COVID and the US storm, all these things are being discussed. Now, the article, the the international page doesn't contains much of articles, because you see this thing that on international page, particularly we need to focus on those articles which are containing some policy implications or some foreign policy aspect as which is there. We need to see that. Then moving on in this particular direction, after that, guys, moving in the business page, FDI chasing service sector despite manufacturing push. So we'll see that what this particular article is talking about, and then there are the corporate trends. So this is about the overview of the entire newspaper, and now let's discuss all these articles one by one in detail. Okay. So guys, in every class we start with the GS quotation. Now this particular GS quotation you can use in your answers in your GS paper number 1, 2, 3 and 4 to complement your answers. So today we are taking the quotation from the Samuel Richardson. Samuel Richardson says, calamity is the true test of integrity. Now guys, when we talk about integrity, integrity is a moral value which provides that a person needs to uphold the highest standards of morality, highest standards of moral uprightness, and at the same time, there needs to be absolute alignment between what a person thinks, what a person speaks, and what a person do. Now, integrity is a value of one's character, and the true test of integrity is in the toughest of the tough times. Even this question has been asked into the UPSC GS paper number 4. Okay, UPSC's paper GS paper number 4. So calamity, that is the adversity, that is the toughest of the toughest times, are the true test of integrity. Okay, if you are able to portray it, then you have integrity, otherwise you don't have. Fine, so we can use this particular quotation. Then moving on guys, and let's take the first article. Okay, taking up the first article. So the first article is the failed attempt at decriminalization, that is the Jan Vishwas bill. We are going to discuss it. So first of all guys, before going in this particular article, let's take some of the background information which will be important for you to keep in your mind. Guys, basically, whenever we talk about any country's economic growth, the country's economic growth depends on the economic activities, particularly from manufacturing sector, economic activities that are going on in the service sector, and all these kind of things. How easy in a country is to do the business will depend will be deciding the scale of economic activities. And for that particular thing, we have one parameter, that is ease of doing business. So on the basis of ease of doing business, basically a country's FDIs will be determined. How much private sector is going to invest in that particular nation, it will be determined. On the basis of ease of doing business, industrial expansion will happen, and all these kind of things will be carried. Now, when we talk about in India ease of doing business, there are many irritants that are there. For example, number one irritant is with respect to the labor laws. Okay, with respect to the labor laws. In India, the labor laws have been particularly more favored in terms of the labor rights. Now, government, in order to resolve that particular thing, has already introduced the 4 labor code bills. But there are another issue is that many of the laws are there in India in which there are the criminal provisions if you don't go for such particular kind of compliances. For example, guys, I just want to give you one example in this particular direction. Okay. So first, just we are building the base. Okay. Fine. So basically, guys, according to one of our report, okay, according to one of a report, and the name of report is, just a minute, I'll tell you the report. Okay, so the report, I think we haven't mentioned here, but the name of the report is Jailed for Doing Business. The name of report is Jailed for Doing Business. And as per this report, that is Jailed for Doing Business, it has been provided that in the Indian law system, there are 26,134 imprisonment clauses. 26,134 imprisonment clauses. It simply means this particular thing, that these many clauses are there in the Indian laws which can provide for punishment, and many a kind of a things. Just in the civil matters, there are the imprisonment punishments that are there. Because of that particular thing, ease of doing business is getting spoiled in India. So therefore, in order to solve this particular thing, this Jan Vishwas bill has been brought. Now, what are the major provisions of this particular Jan Vishwas bill? This Jan Vishwas bill aims to, this Jan Vishwas bill aims to decriminalize, it aims to decriminalize around 183 offenses across 42 legislations. Okay. And as these offenses will be decriminalized, it aims to enhance the ease of living as well as ease of doing business in India. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that over the years, there has been a lot of growth of the criminal laws. And because of this particular thing, scholars have said that in India, over criminalization of laws is there. Even for petty things, people could be jailed. So this is something that needs to be removed. And Jan Vishwas bill is bringing the reform in this particular direction. Now, this particular reform will also be helping on judicial front, because when we talk about India's judiciary, there are so many of the cases that are there, because of which the judicial backlogs are increasing. According to the data given by National Judicial Grid, it is said that 4.3 crore cases are pending in India. And out of these 4.3 crore cases that are pending, 3.2 crore cases are in relation to the criminal proceedings. Okay. And in these particular cases, large number of cases are because of the large number of criminal laws. And for business compliances also, these criminal laws are being filed. So it is also stuffing our judicial system. Moreover, in this particular direction, it has also been provided that such kind of a things also leads to overstuffing of prisons. For example, according to National Crime Record Bureau's prison statistics report, it is being provided that there are 5.5 lakh prisoners that are there in the prisons against the capacity of 4.25 lakh. So the capacity of our prisons is to house 4.25 lakh prisoners, but there are 5.54 lakh. Why? Because people are being implicated for certain petty offenses, and they are being stuffed in the jail. So decriminalization is going to help on three fronts. Ease of doing business. Second front that it will help is reducing the judicial backlog. And third, basically the prison people who are stuffed in the prisons, their numbers will also be reduced. Okay. Now, moving on further in this particular direction, guys. Okay, now when we talk about the Jan Vishwas bill, so many of the punishments that were there, they will be replaced with the fines, and the legislations such as the Air Act, Environment Protection Act, Forest Act, Drugs and Cosmetics Act, Cinematographic Act, Patent Act, Trademarks Act, IT Act, in all these particular kinds of in all these particular legislations, the decriminalization will be brought. So this is something that has happened. However, there is a criticism of this particular bill as well, and the criticism goes something like this, that actually many of the provisions, what has happened, imprisonment clauses, jail clauses, they have been replaced with the fines. Okay, so actually by this particular thing, decriminalization is not happening. Just you have changed the character of punishment. Punishment is still there. Decriminalization means that these basically these provisions need to be completely omitted. Okay, so what has happened? Jail has been replaced with the fines, so it is not complete decriminalization. Moreover, if you remember, guys, I told you that there are 26,000 plus imprisonment clauses, and many of these clauses are there in many of the legislations which pertains to the business also. And in that capacity, we are just decriminalizing We are just decriminalizing here, you can see 183 offenses. So out of 26,000, 183 are getting decriminalized. So it is not going to bring that much impact as well. Okay. So this is all about this particular entire issue. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to next article. That is, what is the proposal to ban the sale of single cigarettes? Now, this particular article will be taken with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, health. GS paper number 2, health. And within the health, the topic of government interventions, government policies for health. We are going to take this particular topic. Now, before going in this particular topic, guys, let's take some of the basic facts and basic data. Guys, understand this thing that we have National Health Policy 2017. Now, National Health Policy of 2017 had aimed that tobacco consumption, the tobacco consumption is to be reduced by 30% by 2025. Okay. But we don't seem that we are going to achieve this particular target. Tobacco consumption cannot be reduced by 30%. Actually, it is increasing. There are increasing trend in the adolescents to smoke the cigarettes and all such kind of a thing. Now here I just want to give you one more information that, guys, according to the Lancet report, so Lancet is one of the most reputed health journal. According to the Lancet report, it's provided that 7 million deaths will be attributed to smoking, particularly in the low and middle income countries by 2030. So by 2030, 7 million deaths will be because of smoking. When we talk about India, India is in the group of low and medium income countries, and at the same time, we always talk about the India's demographic dividend, the young age population that we are having, which will contribute significantly in economic activities. But we are losing this demographic dividend because of the cancer which is being caused by the smoking. Now, how to tackle this particular problem? So in this particular direction, what has happened? The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare had submitted one report, and they have given one suggestion. So this Parliamentary Standing Committee, it has submitted the report on cancer management, prevention and diagnosis of cancer. According to them, they had said that government needs to bring the ban on the sale of single stick of cigarettes. Now, we need to understand this particular thing, guys, that basically it is being provided that many of the people, they get a habit of smoking either in their adolescence, or they get a habit of smoking just because they wanted to try it. Now, when the adolescent children are there, many number of times they might not be having the economic wherewithals to buy an entire packet. And if they cannot buy an entire packet, obviously they are not going to just smoke a cigarette on experimental basis. Many number of times, many of the recreational smokers who just smoke just to have some kind of a momentary fun, they are not the chain smokers. They also are able to take cigarette because they are available very easily, very conveniently in the single sticks. So if entire packet of cigarette will be sold, it will create an economic disadvantage. It will create an economic disincentive, economic discouragement. And by that particular thing, many of the people, they will not be going in this particular direction. Moreover, it is not also very much convenient to carry one entire pack of cigarette in your pocket all the time. So many people, they just conveniently buy a cigarette, they smoke it, and just they are caught in this particular habit. So banning a single stick of cigarette is going to help. Okay, already I have told you that National Health Policy's 2017 target was to reduce the tobacco use by 30% by 2025. Moreover, this Parliamentary Standing Committee has also given another suggestion, and the suggestion is that government needs to prohibit the designated smoking areas that are there in airports, hotels, restaurants, etc. Okay, so they needs to be completely be prohibited. Then next thing that comes in this particular direction is, guys, that this particular committee has also provided that we need to ban gutka. We need to ban gutka, pan masala, because when we talk about India's cancer burden, particularly which is because of the tobacco, it is being provided that 80% of the tobacco consumption that is in India, it is in the form of chewing tobacco, gutka, etc. And this chewing tobacco is most of the time it is marketed as a mouth freshener, okay, as a mouth freshener, and many of the people they don't know that it contains tobacco, particularly the people who are using it for the first time. And when we talk about, guys, India, the largest burden of oral cancer, one of the largest burden of oral cancer is in India. Is it clear? And that oral cancer is directly attributed to chewing tobacco. So this is something which is also needed to be tackled as per the Parliamentary Standing Committee report. Okay. Now, moving on in this particular direction, guys. Further, it has also been provided that there is one more suggestion, though not given by the Parliamentary Standing Committee, but we also should consider about the vendor licensing for tobacco products. Now, what is the concept of vendor licensing? Vendor licensing means that only those people should be allowed to sell the cigarettes who have the licenses. Now you know that there are many of the informal establishments, people just they will be stalling a cart or something like that, and they will sell tobacco products. So we need to bring this vendor licensing regime. Now this thing will also have a criticism also on the opposite hand, because many of the poor people are getting livelihood while selling these products, but on them there will be an implication. But we need to see in a balanced way how this particular thing can be implicated. So guys, these are all the suggestions about the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare on Cancer Management. So if you're writing answers, now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about India, basically the burden of disease, India's disease burden has shifted, disease burden has already shifted from infectious disease, to lifestyle disease, to the non-communicable disease. And in non-communicable disease, fine, the heart strokes. In non-communicable disease, the cancers which are particularly induced by the smoking, etc., they contribute a significant disease burden. So therefore, in this particular direction also, this step is going to help. Fine. So that is all, guys, about this particular article. Now, I hope that you have understood it, and moving to the next article. Okay, before that, guys, if you have any doubt, you may ask your doubt. And meanwhile, a very, very, very good morning to all of you. A very good morning to all of you. Yes, guys, if you have any doubt, you may ask. Okay. Now, moving to next article. Moving to the next article. Putting off caste census will only benefit the privileged group. Now, this particular article we have taken from the text and the context page, and article is talking about a very important and sensitive topic of caste census. And because of this particular thing, the article will be important for GS paper number 2. Article will be important for GS paper number 2. Political and constitutional, the political issues related to social justice. Political issues related to social justice. Now, before going in this particular article, I will discuss some of background information so that you can make sense of this article, and then we'll go as what the article is actually talking about. So basically, guys, we are going to discuss about caste census in this article. Okay, you know this thing that India carries the exercise of conducting world's largest census. Since 1881, we are carrying synchronized census. Okay, synchronized census. Earlier, non-synchronous census were carried, but since 1881, synchronized census is being carried. In this particular census, the demographic information with respect to the literacy rate and many other informations are taken, and even people are classified as the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and general classes. Fine. But the demand is being made that we need to bring an elaborate caste census. The caste census simply means that people need to be also be classified on one factor, that what caste they belong to. For example, the people belonging to the Yadavs need to be classified in one particular group. People belonging to other caste needs to be classified in another group. So we also need to have the caste specific data. We are not having it right now. Earlier, caste census was published by the British government. So till 1931, till 1931 the caste census has been published, but though data was collected for 1941 caste census also, but it did not got published. So now demand is coming that again we need to introduce the caste census in India. So we are going to discuss that why caste census is going to be important, what are oppositions for the caste census, and what this article is talking about. Now let's discuss all these issues one by one. So basically, I told you already, the present census collects data only for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. It doesn't contains any caste specific data. So it fails to provide comprehensive information about India's caste hierarchy. Now, understand this particular thing, that why we need this particular kind of data. We need any welfareist nation needs to have their demographic information, because on the basis of demographic information they can come out with the policies, schemes and welfare mechanisms. For example, we see this particular thing that many number of times a person's caste and person's economic conditions are very much linked. Particularly we know this thing that the people who are the Dalit community people, on them many restrictions have been imposed with respect to the vocations, with respect to the economic opportunities, and this is the proven data that disproportionately more people are in the scheduled caste groups. Then the other backward caste group comes. So in other backward caste groups also we find that there is a lot of baggage of backwardness that has happened. Now when we talk about OBCs, let's say in 2010 versus 2020, within OBCs we have more than, within OBCs we have more than 5,000, to be actually more than 5,200 communities. So different communities, what's their progress in 2020 vis-a-vis 2010? What was their situation in 2000? What was their situation in 2000? So to know their demographic condition, we need to have the caste census, where moreover this will also help us to know that how many people are there belonging to a particular caste, particular OBC caste. Now see this particular thing guys, that when we talk about India, we give reservation on basis of caste. And when we talk about reservation is given something in this particular manner. For example, 15% reservation is given for scheduled caste, 7.5% reservation is given to scheduled tribe, and 27% reservation is given to OBCs, other backward caste. Now, it has been provided that actually in India, more than 52% already the Mandal Commission. Now, Mandal Commission was constituted in 1979. It gave the report in 1980. Mandal Commission at that point of a time had provided that 50% plus people, fine, 52% people in India, they are from the OBC classes. Now the Mandal Commission also had got this particular data on basis of 1931 census that was conducted, because in 1979 there was no caste census. So Mandal Commission did not had any resource to tell that how many people are OBCs. So Mandal Commission took the data on basis of 1931 census, and at that point of a time he said 50% plus population are backward. Now there is a viewpoint that's coming is that OBC population has increased significantly from 1930 to now. And actually it is being said that today, if we take the census, around 70 to 75% people will be found who are actually belonging to the OBCs. Though we don't have data, but it is estimated. But reservation, OBCs are getting only 27% reservation. So it has been said that if population of OBCs has increased, the reservation given to them should also be increased. But for that, we need to have data first. So it is being said that the welfare and many of the government policies, government programs, government schemes, they are struck simply because we don't have data. So therefore, the OBC, the caste census is needed to be brought here. Now, many number of times it is said that the caste elite people who belong to the upper caste, they don't favor this particular idea, because according to them the caste doesn't matters. Caste no longer matters in shaping opportunities, in shaping outcomes. In 21st century, government has addressed the caste problem, but it is provided that no, it is not the case. There is the issue of multi-generational structural advantage. What is this multi-structural generational advantage? Just I want to give you reference that few days back, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud also took this particular matter up, and he has used a keyword, that is social capital. That is social capital. Okay, now understand this particular thing, that When we talk about a person belonging to the general class, let's say there is a person belonging to general class, and then there is a person belonging to the scheduled caste. Okay, today government had brought the constitutional provisions that equality is given. Okay, accepted. But historically there were a lot of discriminations. Okay, historically we see that the general class people, they never got any, they were not on them, there was no disadvantage. They were not imposed with any restrictions with education. Their generations have been educated, their generations have been educated, economically uplifted because of that education and all such kind of things. So over the periods, the environment that prevailed in general caste, it was different, and the environment that prevailed into the scheduled caste family, it was different. And environment in which a person is being brought up, in which a person is raised, it determines that what a person's confidence level will be, what a person's socialization will be, and on the basis of a person's socialization, a person's lifelong achievements, a person's lifelong capabilities are influenced, they are influenced. So basically the general classes, historically they never got any disadvantage, and there is a structural advantage. Their generations, past generations, had got a lot of structural advantage, and the Dalit people did not got that in the past. So therefore the Dalit people, the backward class people, they have to be given some structural safeguards. And SC/STs, they are being given structural safeguards. But what about OBCs? They are also to be given certain structural safeguards because they did not got the fruit of development. They did not got the fruit of development. So this is something that is coming in this particular direction. Here we also have the data to supplement this particular point. So basically, according to the data data taken in 2019, it's provided that in 2019, out of the 82 secretaries to the government of India that were there, fine, only 4 were from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. 4 were from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So what's the issue? The issue, the guys, that has come here is that the backward class people and the Dalit people and tribal people, they did not got their share in government jobs, employment opportunities, and all such kind of things. And we need to address it now. We need to address it now. So therefore, it is most important that we need to collect the caste census, and on the basis of caste census, the people belonging to the lower caste, their status is to be ascertained, and on the basis of that particular status, they should be given new opportunities. It is being provided. Okay, so it has been provided that this caste census data will be crucial to know that how caste intersects, how caste intermingles with class, gender, regionality, structural access to resources. Fine, to know all these things, the caste data is very much needed. Moreover, guys, it has also been provided that when we talk about the caste data, many number of times the majority confronts that if we bring the caste data, what will happen? The caste data can be misused by the, basically it has been said that, yes, I will show you this particular point in fact. So basically here we see this particular thing that, yes, it is being said that if we collect the caste data, then there are the anti-caste scholars. They say this particular thing, a full caste count will further entrench the caste identities. The caste census will require all the households to think about their caste. Okay, they will think about their caste, they will talk about their caste, and by that thing, the caste realization will again come. So therefore, caste census data should not be collected. But guys, this particular point is also misplaced. It is said by the author that anyhow, number one, this particular thing is that historically we have seen that for any reservation benefit, any benefit that is linked with the backwardness of people, a person has to present the caste certificate. So anyhow, they are recalling their caste everywhere. So how asking their caste for the census will impact that particular problem? So this particular point has also been raised here. Is it clear or not? Second thing that comes here, the guys, that basically it is a concern that the caste data will be misused. Caste data will be misused. But misuse of caste data is already happening. You see this particular thing. See, though government is not conducting the caste census, though government is not bringing the caste data, but anyhow, guys, there are many of the private groups that are collecting the caste data for the political parties and for other kind of a purposes. Now, political parties, what they do, they map the caste, they map caste, they map religion, Fine. They basically map the neighborhoods, that okay, how many people from A religion are living, how many people from B religion are living, how many castes are living in one particular neighborhood, so that they can design their election campaign, so that they can design their electoral campaign. So anyhow, they are doing this particular thing. Is it clear or not? So they are dividing neighborhoods, cities, villages to mobilize the votes. Now it is being provided that if government collects the caste data, now this data that the politicians and private organizations are collecting, it is not available in public domain. So if government conducts the caste data, that data will be available in public domain as well. Fine. So this is about this particular article. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to next article. Okay, guys, if you have any doubt, please you can ask your doubts. Okay, moving to next article. So this article, first of all, let's read the heading. As courts insist on triple test rule for OBCs quota in polls, state government push back. Now, this particular article, guys, again will be important for GS paper number 2, issues of polity. Issues of polity. Now, before going in this article, let's take some of basic background information first. Let's take the background information first. And the background information, guys, is something like this, that what has happened. There is one provision of Indian Constitution that we'll discuss first. Fine. Article 243D subclause 6 and Article 243T subclause 6. These two provisions allows the state government that they can reserve the states, that they can reserve seats in panchayat as well as municipal bodies for backward class people. So when we talk about the panchayats and urban local bodies, we know this particular thing, that the seats are already reserved for women, but the seats can be reserved for OBCs also. And that power is given under Article 243D and 243T for both panchayat and urban local bodies. Over the years, we have seen that many of the states actually had tried to introduce reservation for backward class in the local body polls, in the local body elections. In this direction, recently, Uttar Pradesh government has also tried to implement this particular provision. But recently what has happened, judiciary in many other states also had pushed back this particular point, and now Allahabad High Court has shot down, Allahabad High Court has provided that Uttar Pradesh government's decision to carry the caste census, and on the basis of the caste census, the reservation that was given to the OBCs by the Uttar Pradesh government, it is unconstitutional, it cannot be carried. Now, why it cannot be carried, why it is unconstitutional, these things we are going to discuss here. Now, first of all, there is a triple test, and only on the basis of the triple test, state government can reserve the seat for OBCs in the local body elections. Let's understand this triple test, and according to Allahabad High Court, this triple test has been violated by Uttar Pradesh government. So, triple test, number one, it has been provided that there will be a dedicated commission which will be constituted. This dedicated commission will do a systemic study about the backward class people and will find the empirical results. It will do the empirical inquiry and will see the implications of backwardness with respect to the local bodies. It will see that what is the condition of the backward class people. Should we give them reservation or not? If we give them reservation, what will be the implication of that particular reservation? Will that particular reservation will bring any kind of a benefit or not? So a dedicated commission should do this entire study first of all, and then it should suggest whether OBCs should be given reservation or not. Second thing, specific proportion of reservation required for political representation also need to be decided. It is to be decided how many percentage of seats are to be given. 10% seats, 20% seats, how many percentage of seats should be reserved, that will also be provided by the commission. So detailed study, specific proportion should be suggested, and third provision that comes here is that this should be also ensured that total number of seats that are being reserved into the local body polls by scheduled caste people, scheduled tribe people and OBCs, it should not exceed 50% of the total number of seats that are there. Okay, the reservation should not exceed 50%. So this is a triple test that has to be followed. Now, Allahabad High Court has shot down Uttar Pradesh's census because what has happened, Allahabad High Court provided that they missed one crucial factor. They did not took one particular factor in account, that they basically they have not carried inquiry in political representation of backward class citizen in municipal bodies. So according to Allahabad High Court, they have not carried that how many people are already from OBC classes are in the municipal bodies. It has been provided by the Patna High Court, just I am quoting the Patna High Court here in one of other judgment, that they said this particular thing, that social and educational backwardness of a group is different from political backwardness. You are socially backward, you are educationally backward, doesn't mean that politically you are backward. Many of the OBC groups, they are politically very active. Okay, and because of that particular thing, many number of times it is not at all needed that they should be given reservation. In this particular direction, Supreme Court judgment also we have. So we, guys, please do note down this Supreme Court judgment point, because we are covering it. In article it is not presented, but it is a very important judgment. So we have K. Krishnamurthy versus Union of India judgment. And in this particular judgment, Supreme Court has provided that barriers to political participations are not same as that of barriers that limit access to education and employment. Actually, for education and employment, there are more barriers. But for political representation, barriers are very much less if a person is backward. We know this particular thing. So therefore, basically, if a person is backward, simply the persons will not be politically active. It cannot be assumed. So before giving the reservation, the government should have seen that how much representation already is there in the municipal bodies of OBC people, though they have not done, and in a way they have violated the triple test. So therefore, they have violated triple test, and because of that, just a minute, because of that particular thing, it has been shot down. It has been held by Allahabad High Court that they cannot proceed with this development. Moving on in this particular direction, guys, and taking the another article. Okay. And as I have told you that the synoptic notes will be made available to you on Telegram channel after this session. Okay. You can download it. Okay. On other days, we provide it before the session, but today there was some issue that came. Now, discussing the other article, the next article, India must build awareness on population control. Now, this particular article is actually an editorial which has been taken from Hindu newspaper. Now, let's discuss this particular editorial. But this editorial will be important for GS paper number 1. This editorial will be important for GS paper number 1, population related issues, okay, as well as GS paper number 2, government schemes, government welfare initiatives. This article will also be important, okay. Now, taking up. Okay, taking up the article. So basically, recently what has happened, a private member's bill has been introduced in parliament for population control. Population control policies, you might have heard about it. For example, last year, there was Uttar Pradesh government that also came for the draft population bill, last year in fact. That draft population bill provided that the people should have only two, the couple should have only 2 children. If they have more than 2 children, they will not get the benefit of government jobs, and many such crucial welfare benefits will not be given. So population control bill, there is no one design. Population control bill aims to limit the number of children that a couple can have. Now, the article is talking about that, do we need such population control bill in India or not? So basically, when we talk about India, India is actually the first nation who had addressed the problem of population in 1950s. We raised the awareness about the population, and a lot of success have also been achieved in this particular direction already. Now, when we talk about the population rates, guys, the total fertility rate is a very important parameter in this particular direction. Total fertility rate is a number which provides that how many birth is being given by a hypothetical woman during her reproductive age. Okay, so how many births are being given by a woman during her reproductive age? Now, when we talk about, guys, the total fertility rate of India has declined substantially. Total fertility rate of India has declined substantially. So it was around 5.9% in 1950, 5.9%, and it has got reduced to 2%, that is in National Family Health Survey 5. What it means? It means that every woman is giving birth to 2 children. Actually, there is one concept that I want to discuss here. According to United Nation Population Division, it is said that replacement rate is at 2.1. Replacement rate is 2.1. Replacement rate is actually that rate at which the population of a country will stabilize. Replacement rate is that rate at which the population of a country will stabilize. Neither it will go up nor it will go down. And if total fertility rate reaches to 2.1, the population will decline. If it goes below that, population will go down. And India's total fertility rate is 2. It is 2. So already India's population is going down. It is declining. So do we need such kind of a population control bill? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now guys, understand that when we talk about population in India, it has become a lot politicized issue and it is equated with religion. Many number of times guys we have seen this particular thing, that population is equated to one particular religion, and in this particular thing that religion has also been targeted. Okay, fine. I have given you example that the Uttar Pradesh draft population control bill also came, and the Uttar Pradesh bill on population control specifically provided that no government job will be offered to the couples with more than 2 children. And in the past, many of the political leaders have also made statement where they have targeted certain religious communities. We don't need to go in this particular thing. Now, the article is talking about that. The article is talking about this particular thing. That first of all, you see this particular thing, that when we talk about the population growth rate, often it is said that one particular religion, they have more population, okay, but the population growth rate between the Hindus and the other one, that is the Muslims, that was high, but it has shrunk down, it has come down. For example, the differential, the gap between the two religions, okay, it has substantially come down. In 1992-1993, the gap of population total fertility rate between the Hindus and Muslims, it was 1.1, but now it has come down to just 0.35. So even it has been provided that in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, where majority population is Muslim, the total fertility rate has come to 1.4% in 2011, below the replacement rate. So even certain religions which have been picked that they are responsible for the population growth, even there the population rate are coming down. Okay, sir, background noise is disturbing. Okay, so I might be there is some kind of a ceremony is okay, kuch bhi ho sakta hai, so we don't have any control on that. Apologies for that. Now, so basically total fertility rate of 2%, okay, is lower than the replacement rate where India has now reached. And even the Minister of External Affairs have provided that any forced population control bill might have dangerous consequences. And we have already seen the example of China. China has brought the population control bill, and because of that a lot of negative consequences has come. They got that distorted population structure there. Okay, so therefore, rather than focusing on such kind of a population control bill, we need to focus on developing the health infrastructure. We need to focus on bringing the awareness in the people. So now this population control bill is not relevant as per this particular article. Okay, so guys, I hope that you have understood this particular article. Fine. Now moving to the next article. Okay. Now, basically guys, this particular article is again taken from the Hindu newspaper, and the article is talking about the G20 campaign. Article is talking about G20 campaign for online safety, digital innovation. Fine. Now you know this particular thing that 2023 India is holding the presidency for G20, and as India is holding presidency in G20 for 2023, India is bringing out certain noble and certain notable initiatives. 2 initiatives have been launched by under the India's presidency in G20. So we'll discuss about these particular 2 initiatives, and these initiatives can be mentioned as a case study in your answers. So first of all, what has happened? Stay Safe online campaign has been launched by India, and second is G20 Digital Innovation Alliance, G20 DIA, has been launched by India. Let's discuss about both of these campaigns one by one, and then we'll see implications of these particular campaigns. So first is G20 Digital Innovation Alliance. Now guys, in this particular, under this particular program, from G20 countries as well as from other countries also, you need to keep it in mind, not G20s are the only ones, other countries also, startups, MSMEs, other companies will be invited as what solutions they can give for 6 critically important sectors, 6 critically important areas. Now these 6 critically important areas are agriculture technology, health technology, edtech, fintech, digital infrastructure, and for circular economy. So for all these 6 critical areas, they need to provide the solutions, and the corporate or the startup or the MSME which provides the best of the solution to tackle these 6 critically areas, they will be awarded. In this particular direction, the G20 DIA summit will be held in Bangalore, and in this particular thing, all the mentors, basically here the mentors, corporates, government stakeholders will participate, and the best entrants, they will be awarded. Fine. So a very good example of the innovations that are being promoted under G20 by India, you can give this particular example. And the second is Stay Safe online campaign. Now, guys, we know this particular thing, that cyber risks are increasing. Even recently, the AIMS server, it got hacked. A ransomware attack was made on the AIMS server. So cyber threats are increasing, and to increase the awareness with respect to the cyber risks, increase the awareness with respect to cyber risks, to improve the cyber hygiene, the Stay Safe online campaign has been raised, in which the citizens, they will be nudged, they will be given information that how they can stay safe. So citizens of all age group, children, women, senior citizens particularly will be addressed under this particular campaign. So these are, guys, the 2 campaigns. Now a direct question entirely on this campaign will not come, but you can use them as case studies in your answers. Okay. Moving on, guys. So this is another article. Delegated law should not travel beyond purview of the Parent Act, Supreme Court. So this particular article we need to see with respect to GS paper number 2, polity. So guys, what is this delegated legislation? Okay. So guys, you know this particular thing, that government passes the bill in parliament. For example, if it is a union subject, government will bring a bill in parliament, parliament will pass that bill, and then that particular bill will become act. Now passing a bill and bringing an amendment is a very difficult and a very tricky kind of a matter, because a lot of consensus it's to be taken, it takes a lot of time. So many number of times what happens, under a particular law, when a law is brought, under a law, a particular body or executive is given a power that they can pass rules from time to time. They can pass rules from time to make this particular law operational. This is provided. Now, basically, guys, now this rule that will be passed under a parent law, this rule will be called as delegated legislation. And in the delegated legislation, executive has a substantial power. But originally, the law making is the work of legislature. But in delegated legislation, executive gets the power, okay, which can be given to deal with certain aspects. But often it has been seen that the delegated legislation, the rule that is being actually passed under a law, it has a lot of implications. It becomes far reaching. And many number of times, a lot of other things which cannot, a lot of powers are availed. So Supreme Court has cautioned in this particular direction. Supreme Court has provided this particular thing, that the delegated law should not travel beyond the purview of the Parent Act. So actually the spirit of the Parent Act, it should be respected. It should not go beyond the spirit of Parent Act. Many number of times through rules, fine, there are many of the persons who have been interested, ministries, bodies, they have tried to avail a lot of power. It should not happen. So this is an observation that has been made. But for polity, what is a delegated law, what is a delegated legislation? For this particular thing, you should know it. Fine. Now moving to the next article. Okay, so guys, norms to rank cities based on financial governance has been launched. So basically, what has happened, just as a case study, we can see this particular thing. So the union government has launched a ranking framework. Union government has launched a ranking framework, and in this, under this ranking framework, on the basis of 15 parameters. Now these 15 parameters are such like this. I'll highlight. There are the 15 parameters, and these 15 parameters are resource mobilization, financial resource, physical resource, expenditure performance, how much expenses they are doing, fiscal governance, okay, and even beautification. On these particular parameters, the cities will be ranked. So it will instill a competitive ease in the cities, that they need to perform better and better, so that their ranking gets improved. So this can be used as an example of a competitive federalism where states compete with each other. Okay, then moving on, FDI chasing service sector despite manufacturing push. So basically, guys, in this article, just this table is important. Okay. So the article is talking about that actually what has happened in India, the ease of doing business is still not improved. The article is talking about that government is pushing Make in India and many other schemes for the manufacturing sector. But still we find that the FDI investment are not coming in manufacturing sector, they are coming in service sector. Why? Because in manufacturing sector, large number of compliances are to be taken up. Okay. Fine, you will be operating machineries, you will be dealing with a lot of labor. So a lot of compliances are there, but in service sector, there are the less compliances. And because of that, more FDI and investment is coming in service sector. Now, if we see, FDI in service sector has, guys, actually increased. So I'll just zoom out so that you can read this more properly. But this table is only important. Okay, guys, apologies for the background noise that's coming. So if here we see that the FDI in the service sector has increased to 153 billion between 2014 and 2022. It was 80 billion between 2000 to 2014. So from 80 billion it increased to 153 billion over the span of these 7 years. But in manufacturing sector it grew just to 94 billion from 77 billion. So actually the service sector in India is performing better, more FDI is coming, and within service sector, trading, telecom, banking, insurance, IT, BPO, hotel, tourism, they are the ones which are the favorite. Okay, computer software and hardware has also done very much well. Fine. So this is something that has happened. So government needs to rethink on ease of doing business with even more seriousness. Okay, so guys, that is all about, and now let's take the mains practice question for the today. So today's mains practice question will be for GS paper number 2. It is a 10 marker question, and the question reads, India's total fertility rate signify that it does not need a law for forced population control. Rather, the focus should be on strengthening public health infrastructure. Analyze. 10 marks. Okay, so guys, that is all about it, and I hope that you have liked the video. I hope you have understood all these issues. So that is all, guys, for today. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.